All right, the time is now 9 o'clock.
It's dark.
And I call today, today is the 20th of May, 2025, meeting to order. The physical quorum of members is physically present. I will entertain a motion to permit those not physically present due to personal illness, disability, employment purposes, or the business of the board, or family or emergencies to participate via video or teleconference.
So moved.
Is it properly moved and seconded?
Closing time.
All in favor? All in favor? Any opposed? That being none, it's motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, and say, never mind.
All
Joking, joking,
Wait, is he in
Jim.
his car?
right, roll call, please.
He was a passenger.
Chair
He was a
Childress,
passenger.
Yes.
Vice Chair Zay,
He's
we
in
know
there.
this.
He's in there.
Member
He's in there
Desart?
somewhere.
Here,
Member Galassi, Member Garcia,
Here,
Member Bozak,
here.
Sorry, here.
Okay. Now that we've had roll call, are there any public comments? There are no public comments, so the chair will seek a motion to approve the minutes for 25/12.
So moved.
On,
Second.
for the May 6th, 2025 meeting. Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into budget transfers. Glasses over here. The chair will entertain a motion on 25/12/1292 facilities management grounds transfer of funds from the maintenance supply account to in the amount of $8,760 to the construction and other equipment account for a compact track
so
loader.
moved.
Properly moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into consent items. The chair will entertain a motion to, for 25/1293 for facilities management, Centos Corporation. This contract is decreasing in the amount of $14,216.71 and closing due to the contract expiring.
Moved. Second.
Been properly moved to second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on, 25/1294 for facilities management to Metropolitan Industries. This contract is decreasing in the amount of $39,870.93 and closing due to contract expiring.
So moved.
Been properly moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Should have had discussion. Chair will entertain a motion on 25/1295 for Public Works to Horror Construction. This contract purchase order is decreasing in the amount of $11,739.48
So
and
moved.
closing due to project completion.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We move on to 25/1296 for the Public Works Menards. This contract purchase order is decreasing in the amount of $10,259.85 and closing due to contract expiry.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We move on to 25/1297 Public Works to W.W. Granger. This contract purchase order is decreasing in the amount of $25,990.87 and closing due to contract
So moved.
expiry.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Claims reports, 25-1298. Chair will entertain a motion to accept the payment of claims to Public Works and Facilities Management.
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Member Glass.
Oh,
Or you may want to join.
I'm sorry. Member Glass.
You have to probably put her.
I'm just joining late from the Economic Development Committee.
Okay.
We have three.
No, yeah, she's attending remote already voted to allow members.
Okay.
Thank you for attending. Do you have any discussion, any questions before we go on?
No, I just know you need to allow me to participate.
Okay.
We already voted on it. She can
Already voted on.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Did we do the claims report? Yes.
We did, but I don't think we voted, did we? I moved, you seconded.
I don't think we voted on
Yeah.
claims reports.
Thanks for posting it.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to joint purchasing agreement. I'd like to move on FMP 2525 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Altifers Industry to furnish, deliver one Caterpillar compact track
Second.
loader with accessories for facilities management grounds for a period of May 28, 2025 through November 30, 2025 for a total contract amount not to exceed $96,760. Is it properly moved and seconded?
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We'll move into the bid award.
Pardon me, who made the motion on that one?
The chair did.
Okay.
He said I'd like to move on, and so I seconded it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll correct that next time. Bid awards, Chair will entertain a motion
So moved.
on FMP 2625 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Allied Valve Inc. to test, repair, and recertify safety equipment, safety relief valves for boilers
Second.
and the power plant for facilities management for a period of May 28, 2025 through May 27, 2028 for a total contract amount not to exceed $70,640. Is it properly moved and seconded? Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Chair will entertain a motion on PWP 1325 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to United Door and Dot LLC
So moved.
for 4 slide gates for the Woodridge Green Valley Wastewater Treatment Plant for Public Works for a period of May 27, 2025 to May 26, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $53,253. Has been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We'll move into action items. Chair will entertain a motion on PWR 425 on the recommendation for the approval of an agreement between the County of DuPage, Illinois, and Corrosion Illinois Network LLC for funding engineer inspection services for water system planning for public works for a period of May 27, 2025 through May 26, 2034. Has been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any- Motion carries. We move into old business. Is there any old business? Okay, you're right. We do have, I forgot, we have a presentation on our Heritage Gallery.
Member, sorry, that's something.
Oh, I did. I just wanted to ask about that sinkhole situation.
Over at the quarry.
Yes. of course.
The quarry, actually, I talked to, well, Sarah's here,
Oh.
so I do know the answer, but go ahead.
So we have two sinkholes at the quarry, one in the west lobe and then one on the west lobe pump station. And, the one on the west lobe, we actually removed all the material and we found that there was a void in the compacted fill. And that there was an area that wasn't fully compacted, so we pulled it back, recompacted it and then, put all of the material back in there. So that is set. We are monitoring it before we fully close it up and remove all the equipment from that area. The one in the West Low Pump Station, we brought out a geotechnical expert to evaluate it. And what we actually did is we found that during construction in the early 1990s, there was an omission of part of the construction. And so we removed some of the material and put what should have been in there, which is almost like a low strength concrete in there. So there isn't erosion underneath or soil deposition. And so we fixed both of those areas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I was wondering about that.
Best case scenario,
Yeah, absolutely.
best case scenario.
Hey, Jeff, you're up.
Morning. So Taylor Studios is wrapping up their concept design work for the museum portion of their contract. So they're about to get back on track. The county's part of the project. We wanted to give a quick update. We need a little consensus on the next step here. So thank you, Joe. As for the existing gallery itself, we're going per the previous committee direction. We're still verifying if we can find any provenance for these items. I did hear back from Museum Science and Industry. They acknowledged that is their barbed wire. They would prefer we don't subloan it to anybody else. And if we take it out of the display and don't intend to reuse it, they would like it back for their collection. But in the meantime, they said we're fine to keep it on display. The guy I talked to is actually in Glen Ellen. He might swing by just to look himself, but
We're talking about something that's big.
so that, yeah, it was encouraging, but they knew what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I have, again, we put out the email about a month and a half ago to other entities. I've heard back on a few who are interested down the line in taking some of the items on subloans if available. And the displays themselves, once we kind of have clarity on, who owns them, what the county can actually do with them. So, and then in the next 6 months, we're thinking probably a tentative removal just to clean up the space, which is kind of part B on the slide. We've removed lettering, we've removed banners, kind of clean it up. If the displays get removed, we put in new carpeting. There is electrical popping up through the bottom. We'd probably safely cover that for now, pending, future plans. We wouldn't want to completely demo it. We want access to that. We do have spare tables and chairs that we could stage there as a temporary atrium type space in the meantime. So it still is usable as we kind of move forward with the design part of the project. Go ahead, Joe. A few weeks ago, I handed out the public survey responses. We had 177, and that was kind of the Taylor Studio summary of them. Overall, we're asking Taylor Studios to, as they went through it, to add names and places to that other document they had put together for the outline for all the content. And they would use that as they move from schematic design to concept design. I think the surveys also made it pretty clear that this is kind of a compromise project at this point. I mean, it kind of touches a lot of the bases. We have the global timeline, which is more of a high-level view of the history. Then we have currently 2 video screens, the one on the south wall, which has been pegged for more current events, Heritage Month celebrations, and possible videos and connections to other museums throughout the county. And then a smaller monitor, currently 1, but depending on budget and themes, we could expand that. In the timeline area, which would feature more individuals, which is more in line with the current Heritage Gallery setup. And that sort of content, more of a personal, famous people of DuPage. The budget, they're still in line with about $100,000. As mentioned, they've been working with the museum staff on their gallery space, which is actually about the same size as this, but they're currently budgeting about $750,000 for their space. So that's a much more in-depth museum setup, where ours, we've kind of kept them at the $100,000 that we have remaining in the allocation. So Joe, if you could go to the next slide. Today, we're kind of looking for a general consensus from the committee members to continue through concept design, which would be the final part of the base part of this contract. In this step, they would actually go sign by sign, tell us what content would be on each side of it, which people, places, events they would intend to incorporate, and then they would provide those deliverables to us to review before we go to design development, which as part of the contract is a separate $15,000. The $30,000 was for the base design and contract. Happy to take any questions, or comments, design.
So Jeff, you're looking for a consensus from the committee now to move Taylor Studios forward based upon the survey, past responses. That's where you're at today,
Yeah, it's the
right?
final piece of their base contract, correct, so.
Well, I'm gonna vote no, and I want it on the record, if you wouldn't mind, that I don't appreciate what Taylor's done. I don't like the one-dimensional aspect of the museum, and I also think that the people are what make DuPage County. And if we're focusing on places and events, that's not focusing on the people. And the whole reason why we brought this Heritage Gallery up in the first place was to be more inclusive. African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, LGBTQ, Jewish, Muslim. We wanted to incorporate more of the tapestry of the people of DuPage County, and I don't believe this does that. So I would be a no vote to move forward with Taylor at this time. Thank you.
And we are asking for a consensus today, so. By show of hands, who would like for Taylor to move forward?
Members online, if you want to put up your hand using the application.
Just verbally say it.
I think
She's frozen. Oh, yeah, she's not frozen.
Oh, no.
You're a no?
And Mr. Zay.
I mean, I agree with member to start. I mean, I'm not happy with what they had brought forward, so I don't know what the next step would be then, if we're not gonna go with them.
What's that?
That'd be a 3-3, so we don't have
No,
consensus
no
moving
consensus.
forward. So then at this point, we don't have consensus. We can either leave the Heritage Gallery as it is without tearing it down, or we can go ahead and dismantle it and just simply bring it back to carpeting and painting. And then, so I guess that would be the next question is, do we go status quo right now and do nothing, or do we move forward with at least dismantling?
I understand everyone's opinion on who voted no, and I understand that. I think they were going to focus more on the people. I think that was one of the bullet points you had there, that they were gonna focus more on the people, so to put as much work into this and then just leave it status quo is very frustrating to me. I know our staff has worked very hard on that, and I understand you're all very passionate about this, but I just think it's a shame to just leave it now. We're just gonna just walk away from it, but we didn't have the votes, so there's nothing I can do about it.
I agree. So what do we do next? We move forward or we leave it as it is? Or do we just dismantle? That's really what.
The only two options we have left are dismantle it and go to carpeting, or do nothing.
Member Olson.
I agree with member Deacon Garcia about what we've accomplished so far, and I didn't share the same problems with the presentation. I think this is kind of a difficult thing to cover every single base, so I didn't really have a problem with the way the presentation was, et cetera. However, I do think that what is there now is really dated and should go. Outsource it to various places, what have you. Perhaps if we chose to, we could do a large window decal or hang a few banners of just maybe nice colors, or what I'm, just kind of something cheerful to look at as you're passing through, and the tables and chairs and the carpeting. I assume we have the carpeting somewhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have in-house stock,
Yeah.
yeah, a standard color.
So I think it would be better served as making it a gathering place, which is what it could become. And it's a solarium at best. So it's something, it's another place for employees to gather. So I think we should do it.
I think,
And I'm gonna,
see it when I remember the side.
oh, I'm sorry. You wanna go
Oh.
first?
I had you first.
Okay, if we do take it apart, which I think is what we're going to be leaning toward, because I do feel, along with member Ozark, that it's very dated. that if we can get a video on one of the walls, or maybe even both the walls, where we could maybe highlight some of the people that Member Desart was saying or something like that. Maybe we could do some kind of videos, there'll be some kind of compromise. So, at least there'd be some kind of update or some kind of, approval on what is there right now, so.
Put together like a minimalist, kind of scheme and, they bring that forward before the committee.
Well, it sounds like I mean, the videos about current events here, what's happening, maybe the highlighting people during the thing. I think the video screens, it sounds like is acceptable to everybody, but none of the exhibits along there. And then we're talking dismantling, new carpeting, painting, cleaning that all up and bringing in the seats for the public, staff, whoever to sit down there. Is that the consensus?
Did
Did you?
Yes.
Okay, I would, like to see the current exhibit dismantled. And as a side note, you were talking about Providence before, Providence, the family of the opera singer said that they wanted his costume back. Have we located the source yet for that? And are we allowed to give back the property that belongs to the family?
I defer to state's attorney, but I know previously when the Red Grange item that we returned, that family had documentation showing they had loaned it.
Okay.
So if they have paperwork, that
It really
would,
depends whether they can show ownership,
Yeah.
right? Because we can't just give something that we currently hold to a member of the public for that reason. We have to
Every
show-
artifact,
Yeah. it's an
every
artifact.
single artifact must be researched, must have a provenance to.
Even if you can prove that this was a family member?
If they show that they own it, then we can give it to them.
Okay, well, that was just an aside. What I'd like to see is this current exhibit dismantled. And then, I'd like to see us work with the DuPage Heritage, Museum, or I'm sorry, Historical Museum. They do a videotapes already of a bunch of, interesting historical figures.
Yeah.
Bob, what's his last name? He just passed away last year. Okay, I'll get it to you. And Glenette Turner has a video already out, and I'm sure there are other videos too, so we can start with that. And then I'd like to see us bring this back up in like 6 months to revisit it. So my stages are this, my stages are dismantle the current exhibit. Get some videos up there on both screens, and then revisit it in a few months and see what we want to do down there.
sounds
That's my
good. We do have an
suggestion.
MOU with the museum staff right now, so whenever Michelle or Emily help us on this, I mean, we already have an agreement to compensate them for their time
Good.
and expertise, so
Good.
we can definitely keep doing that.
Can I just have one thought for staff? As we get videos in, we will distribute it to the Public Works Committee, just get a consensus to add them. I just want to make sure that we don't go in a wrong direction. And we can send it to you beforehand and we can just get a consensus to move ahead and then we'll add them, delete, et cetera. I think it just helps all the way around if that makes sense to,
Good idea, Tim. Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Consensus is.
One other quick idea, besides historical or local interest videos, we could also consider the health department, maybe our own public relations.
The,
We could have. all
without a
sorts
doubt, one of the
running.
videos will be the current events that
Like a one
impact
record.
our county.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could have the Fair Association with their events, you could
Yeah,
have
so
everything that
smorgasbord.
affects our, Public Works could have something,
Yeah,
a boil
smorgasbord.
order or something like that, we could have all of that.
Okay.
Bob and Caroline Jacobson. Bob just passed away, but Caroline still is.
Jacobson, okay.
Okay, so it sounds like the consensus is.
How about the online people, does that consensus, are they go with that as well?
Yeah, as long as, like what Tim mentioned, we do as a committee have, the ability to give consensus on what videos are being displayed. Is that what Tim said?
Yes.
You said it better.
Is, members, Zay's gone, is he? Okay,
I'm fine with what member Desart had said on the timeline.
all right, thank you, member Zay. So the consensus is that we're gonna dismantle. Create
dismantle, restore what's,
Restore.
restore what's
Carpet.
down, carpeting, painting. We'll do the video monitors, maybe several, depending on what we have, and then seating down there as well. And then that is the extent. And then in 6 months, we will bring it back. And then any videos besides current events, which we will put up there, any video content, we'll work with the Historical Museum, but we'll clear it through the Public Works Committee.
One more to add, terminates Taylor Studios? I mean, I'm just asking for direction.
Can
You
we
wanna add
pause
that?
them? Can we pause them
We can do both, yes.
and say we're just,
Correct.
you know, thank
Yep.
you for your current
Keep it
work,
open
but we're gonna.
Under, no problem.
Yeah, I believe the contract expires end of November.
Yeah,
But, you know, they would have to work us back in their schedule. They'll probably schedule different projects. So we just, you know, when we have guidance, we can either extend the contract to allow us to work further after November or, you know, see what their timeline
That
is.
sounds
How
good.
does what we do affect the budget that we have?
The budget we have is out of ARPA interest, so that budget just keeps rolling.
Okay,
That's until the board decides to spend it at an alternative place, it will stay dedicated to that.
okay.
And that's a,
Member Garcia?
It was originally
I'm not in favor of
150,000.
pausing them. I don't think it's fair to Taylor Studios. I don't think that we've shown that we like the work they're doing, so I think we should terminate. Quite honestly, that's how my opinion is with them. We haven't given them any reason for them to continue working with us, and I'm very strongly opinionated about that because I think we.
I agree.
Well, point, okay, thank you, Chair. Point counterpoint, the counterpoint is that DuPage County owns the Historical Museum and the Historical Museum is moving forward with Taylor. So it's all, you know,
Right, we'd have to work, we would not be terminating the Park District's portion of the contract. We'd only be stopping work on ours.
Let me come in from a different angle.
Okay.
Staff will spend no more money without direction from you, the committee. How's that? If you recall, this was a first or second of my career, this is actually a three-party agreement. This is Taylor Studios, us, and the Historic Museum are all in one, and we all have our own unique scope. So no harm, no foul, but meaning if the clock runs out and it can be refreshed anytime between now and December 1st, if that's the direction of the committee. So if
Yeah, but-
just as a suggestion, that may work well and meet everyone's desires here.
Committee could definitely do an extension. If we start getting November, December, and we want to extend it, you can easily do an extension at that time.
So it gives us options.
without giving them any more money.
I don't know if they'll honor it at the current pricing. We would have to talk with them and see.
But we will freeze any future activities with them after today, unless we get other direction from the committee, is a thought for you to consider.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah, this is acceptable. I just have one more question. I've already had public people come up to me and say, so when is the public, when are we gonna get back into this and stuff like that? So they can, are we gonna be doing something to say that we are no longer going forward with this so that they know that they will?
Well, we are going forward with the videos.
Right, but not with what was presented at the last.
We've reduced the scope of what.
Right.
Right. Would that be an announcement by Jones Group or how would that work?
Let me talk with them because I'm not sure if we do an announcement to the negative. I'll talk with her and figure out how to do that because I mean, usually you have a positive announcement, but announcement to the negative, we're not gonna do anything. I'm not sure how to do that, but I will work with her.
Well, it's not to the negative, it's the announcement that, we're pausing it for now.
Okay. We'll see what, we'll have her and Evan watch this, and see their thoughts, what the best bet to inform the public is.
Because in my mind, we had people come in, they did the surveys. The public put some work into it too. They have-
Absolutely, all the surveys, 170,
Right, so we wanna
155
make sure-
surveys.
You could certainly frame it in the idea of we're pausing it so we get it right,
Okay.
Excellent point.
especially since it seems to be a project that's done every 40 years.
40 years.
It's taken some twists and turns, that's for sure.
But
And we have no timeline to dismantle because of the
provenance.
evidence of the displays.
As long as we don't have, there's not a rush to do it. The one thing I would recommend as we determine provenance and as we work with other museums to figure out what they want, maybe we can work all of that as a schedule. I would say it'll definitely be restored by the end of this year. And we'll have everything, but I mean, there's no rush to take it down, box it up and store it while we work with the other museums now.
One last question. Have you contacted the BRYL, the YMCA? About, I believe, Mr. Dickey was a founder of the
YMCA?
YMCA. It's the BR Ryle in Glen Ellen.
There's nowhere.
I don't believe so,
But
but
they may be interested. I think don't quote me
I
until you
heard it
vote,
somewhere else.
but I think that he was the founder of that YMCA, so.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
to get through their business, so we can close it out.
Okay,
All right.
is there any old business? I don't know if we got the old business. Being none, any new business? Being none, without objection, we are adjourned.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.